You were my first strike for nudity on YouTube.
They're trying to create this godless religion. It's like they took the best of each idea and threw it out.
Yeah, if you ever cheat on me, it's going to be with like a 72-year-old man.
You don't need all these preachers. You don't need them to get you to heaven, because at that point in time, that's what the churches were teaching.
Like
I didn't know about Tartary at the time, but yeah, I would have thrown that in there. I just walked into the Hills Have Eyes ward.
Oh, jeez. There's so much untapped power in prayer that we are just not tapping into and not teaching people how to tap into it. Hold on, I'm just pressing start and seeing what happens here, bro. I'm just pressing start and just seeing what happens here. Because we got Rodney Norman in the house. For those that are unfamiliar with Rodney Norman,
here we are.
He was my mother's favorite comedian, right there. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of that had to do just because she really liked you and thought you were awesome and funny. So good job, bro, Seth. But I can vouch for your funniness. You indeed got the funny, bro. And I think you got to team up with Jonah Barnes to write some good comedy for you, maybe some stand-up routines, maybe just like maybe a punch up a script here or there or something like that, you know. So anyway, dog, it's been a while. What do we have to catch up on, dude? Like
everything. Well, your mom, that I'm really, I loved your mother was wonderful.
Oh yeah,
and
she was awesome.
That is quite a shock.
Yeah, came too early, man. Came too early.
Yeah, but, my brother, who had been battling cancer for many, many years. He just passed this last year. He was 57.
Oh, geez.
Man, I hate stories like that. Don't.
Yeah,
what,
dude.
What are people dying in their 50s?
Jonah's almost there, dude. No,
that is not true. That is not at all true.
So, well, you know, that's one thing. I think that the gospel is so amazing in that we just take death in stride. It's like, you know, we know it's not the end. We know that there's something better beyond, and knowing that, you know, for my brother, he's finally out of pain because he was fighting cancer for ever, you know?
Yeah.
So you know, it's sort of a, you know, an easy,
and you know what's so cool about you, bro? This is what's so cool about you. You like come in here, you're a straight up stand-up comedian, you know, gracing LA with your presence, right? But then you got like the Stones to just say the gospel's awesome because it helps us conquer death. Sting, where is thy, or death, where is thy sting? You know, grave, where is thy victory? And, you know, next to you come across like the Apostle Paul, but the whole time you're in a graphic tee with a beard like God. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you're also getting more yoked, bro. Have you been working out?
Yeah, well, I've lost a little weight, but yeah, I work out.
Because now you got I
do push-ups.
Yeah, because now you got like the Aristotle vibe too now.
Oh,
bro.
Thank you.
Dude, yes. Oh my gosh, you do have the Aristotle vibe.
Dude, if we make Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure 5, you know what I'm saying? Then you're going to be Socrates, bro. You're going to be Socrates.
That is the first person we cast in that movie is Rodney Norman. Absolutely.
Dude, that's
absolutely
funny. Did you know last time he was here, he confessed there was a job, Jonah, he's always wanted to have for the church.
Yes.
Do you remember what that job was?
What's that?
Yes. I got to audition for it, but I did not get the part.
Okay.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, what is it?
Because I'm too white.
Okay. What was it, bro?
Abinadi.
Yeah, dude. Oh.
Dude.
What? I know. Can you believe? Look at the Abinadi. I am looking this up right now. Look at who they chose as Abinadi for the Book of Mormon movies. I'm literally looking up Abinadi.
Rodney, dude.
Of Mormon movies.
It was the thing I've since I first saw the the paintings of Abinadi. I was like, that's what I want to be when I grow up. Right there,
dude. That's where I recognize you from. Is you're in this painting. You were the model for the famous Jaguar painting.
Yeah, dude. So look, here's the guy they cast. And look, I mean, I got nothing against this cat, all right?
Yeah,
he's probably a nice enough dude.
Yeah.
Solid performance. But I mean, come on, the hair and makeup to get his fake hair and fake beard. Like, I mean, come on, that looked like a Boy Scout project, okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
meanwhile, we got you here. You actually look like the legit Arnold Freeberg. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking this up right now.
Your fake beard looks way better, Rodney.
Yeah.
Actually, though, if you've seen this video, this actor actually does a pretty good job. He does a pretty good job.
No, he does a good job.
Yeah, I got nothing against him. It's like, you know.
Yeah, he does a great job and everything, but I'm just saying, like, you can't fight the real deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is like the real deal look, man. So, anyway, what's funny?
What a bummer.
Yeah, what's funny is when you came on the show last time, and you know how you took your shirt off and you stood like him and everything like that. Do you remember what happened with that, bro? You were my first strike for nudity on YouTube. Yeah, dude.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Wait, first strike? What? So this has happened subsequent times?
Yeah, no. Well, okay. So everybody's familiar with the original painting from the 1950s or the 1940s, commissioned artwork of the church where they had Abinadi, and he's standing there glowing
before King Noah,
and in front of King Noah, who looks a lot like Bril Hernandez. For those who are familiar with the Heartlander Bril Hernandez on the show, and this is like the painting that a lot of us grew up with. And is kind of still in the zeitgeist of Mormonism. So we actually had him stand and like try and face the side of the camera with his shirt off, looking all yoked with his long white beard and white hair like that. And it was just like him. But YouTube was like, nope. What are you doing on a live stream shirtless, man? Get out of here.
Jeez, can't have that.
Yeah, that was pretty funny, dude. That was pretty funny.
I mean, I gotta say, the Abinadi in the Book of Mormon videos, did he ever lose the shirt? I don't think he ever did.
No,
major oversight, people. We watch these things for the skin. I don't know what they were thinking. You don't burn somebody alive with their clothes on. Come on. You ever burn somebody alive? That's a rookie move.
It's a waste. It's a waste of cloth, is what it is.
Waste of good cloth. That's what I'm saying. Also, he is looking really young for Abinadi. Abinadi was an old dude.
Yeah, they went the young route with them.
Yeah. By the way, how are you two white? This guy literally looks like he's straight out of Sandy, Utah.
Yeah, honestly,
I'm sure he is. No, almost everything for Book of Mormon. Every time, I think I auditioned for seven different times for the Book of Mormon stuff.
Really?
And most of the time, they just basically said, "A pale white guy need not apply." So
wow,
and I'd gotten a tan for this thing. I was hitting the tan booth at the Planet Fitness, a couple times a week. I was timing it out so that I could get in it because you're only allowed like every 24 hours. So I was scheduling it out in my visits to get as many tanning sessions as I could. I was pretty dark, but they did go for it.
Dude, do you see the discrimination? Do you see this discrimination?
Well, you can't tan too much, bro, or else they're going to think you're a local homeless guy here in LA, dude. You know what I'm saying? You can pull off the tan.
I'll probably get more benefits than what I'm getting right now.
That's actually, that might be kind of true there.
A little true, actually, yeah.
Dude,
I got some dental work I need to get worked on.
Dude, so what are you working on now, bro? What are you doing, man?
I'm touring, doing stand-up. I'm writing a book.
Get out, okay, cool.
On philosophy and how to make your life better through philosophy.
Dude, you are Aristotle.
I'm trying.
You're totally Aristotle.
I'm doing.
Well, dude, dog, no, that's profound. Like, I mean,
I have a degree in philosophy. That's what I went to college for.
Oh, you graduated from college?
Yeah, I went to Utah Valley.
Oh, dude, rock. Okay, I'm sorry. I just broke one of my own rules. I hate it when like I do a musical number at church and people come up and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know you played the piano." And I'm fine with people not knowing I played the piano. But when like they kind of insinuate we thought you were just a mindless mouth clown, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? When they're just like, "Oh, I didn't know you were like talented," and like, you know, like they have that extra little tinge that I'm like, oh, what the heck? So I'm sensitive to make sure I don't do that to other people.
Oh no, that's fine.
But you're so funny and humorous and so good at stand-up that, you know, I guess I wouldn't have thought, I can see you graduating from college, but I wouldn't have thought philosophy. However, in thinking upon it twice, I guess that makes perfect sense, right?
It makes sense because comedians often are the wisest people, and philosophers are often the people funnest to laugh at.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as they say, philosophers are just comedians with bad material.
Savage. Yeah. Well, dude, so what's your book about? Like, how does philosophy improve your life?
It's mostly about more stoicism, how to approach life without getting emotionally involved.
Oh, dude, bro, that could okay. One of my favorite books, literally top 3. Okay, there's Book of Mormon. Okay, obviously.
White fragility.
Okay.
Loves white fragility.
Yeah, exactly. There's that one right there.
And he counts Twilight series as all one book.
Yeah, exactly. No, 2 is Misquoting Jesus by Bart D. Ehrman.
Oh, wow.
Love Misquoting Jesus. Okay.
Great book.
I'm going to have to really quickly slip in, like, I don't know, Witnessing Miracles by Josh Gailey, Dragon Thief by Brad Whitbeck, and a book by Jerry Grover, or In the Language of Adam by Dave Butler, because he was just on my show. One of those we're going to have to do. Or your new book, Keystone, The Keystone of Keystone, coming out. Once I read that one, of course, that's going to be in my top 3 as well. All 7 of those books will also be on my top 3.
Haven't even read it. It's already in the top 3.
Yeah, but top 3 is Epictetus, The Art of Living.
Epictetus, yes.
Oh, did I already mispronounce it? It's not Epictetus, it's Epictetus.
It's his such an old name. It's just, however you want to pronounce it, nobody cares.
Okay, so
it's very stoic of you to say.
Yeah, I read Epictetus, and I've done this before. I have literally taught on his defense of morality and chastity, and his whole paragraph. He has 3 paragraphs written on avoiding casual sex. Like, literally sounds like a conference talk from like 2007. And I have literally taken it out, photocopied it, put it as a PDF in one of my PowerPoints for a Sunday school class, and said, guess which apostle or which president of the church said this. And people are like, oh, totally smacks of Benson. No, I'm hearing some Gordon B. Hinckley in there. I'm like, no, this is literally like 2,000-year-old Stoic philosopher. He's considered the father of Stoicism, Epictetus, right? Or was that Marcus Aurelius?
Well, it was actually Zeno is the first, and then Epictetus, and then Marcus Aurelius.
Wait, like the Scientology guy, Zeno?
Zeno.
Oh, okay.
Dude, it's all coming together, man. They're all connected.
So, yeah. So, okay. So, I think there is I think there is some, not apocryphal, I don't know what word I'm looking for, but I think there are some lost profound truths in Stoicism that need to be reevaluated through the lens of the restored gospel. And somebody needs to connect those bridges. And I've literally thought about making a journal that men can write in every day that has, just like the Stoic journal, it has like a scripture and then a quote from Epictetus, and then that daily review of things he says you have to do. Like, dude, the Stoics, man, I'm telling you, there's a reason why it's top 3. So how can it improve your life, bro? You're the one writing the book, not me.
Well, the book's title is How to Be Happy When Everything is Horrible. And it's just about how to, you take, like I said, you don't ignore your emotions. A lot of people, when they hear Stoics, that they mean, they think of, Spock on Star Trek, devoid of emotions. It's like, and it's not about that. It's not really about ignoring your emotions. It's just not letting your emotions be in control of what you're experiencing. And then also, how really the biggest part is focusing your energy on things you actually have control over, because most of your anxiety and depression is from wanting to have things happen that you have no control over. And so you get depressed and you get anxious because you can't have or do the things that you want to do or be what you want to be, or can't have things the way you want them. But when you let go of all of that and then you focus on just doing what you can do and what you have control over, you find that your life is happier, because you're actually accomplishing things and doing something. And you build your skills up and you build your talents up, that eventually you can have influence or actual make changes to things that you didn't have power over before, because you've developed that power. And that's what Stoicism is. And amazingly enough, it's also the gospel.
Well, see, that's actually what I was going to ask you is 2 questions. First off, how profoundly, which I think all of us do through prayer, but how much do you think your thoughts actually dictate the real life outcome of the world around you?
I would almost garner 100%, because the way you evaluate the world, the way you see it, and this is the brilliance of this life, is that we've been given an opportunity to literally create what we want. It's like I go back to the scripture that God is, was Alma 29.
Oh yeah, of course.
That whether it's be good or evil, God will basically give it to you, whatever it is. Okay. Well, how does that accomplish? How is that accomplished? Well, you literally get to create the reality that you want. You can build the life that you want. And a lot of us kind of fall prey to where we allow the world to dictate to us who we are and what we are, and we fall into that trap and we get caught there. But when we finally open our minds and open ourselves to the gospel, to God, to the ultimate reality, to the universe, whatever you want to call it, and we realize that we're part of this that your life is you're always either creating or destroying. Everything you do is either creating or destroying. And when you see yourself as a creator, you find yourself to be happier, and that you bring in your life more abundance, and you bless the lives of others. And as you do that, you get more abundance, and all of this is available to us if we're willing to put in the work and do it.
Okay, so I love what you're hearing, and I am smelling what you're stepping in, and I can't help but think, like, why don't we teach this practicality in church? It's good to focus on the doctrine that Jesus was the Christ and he wants us to be happy. And, his plan, we've even rebranded it as the plan of happiness. All right. Yeah. Well, not rebranded it. That right. Came through modern revelation. Right. And we see all these connections in the gospel, but it's like, I wish sometimes there was more practical study, dare I say, on the pragmatic and practical aspects of this kind of spirituality you mentioned, where it's like, okay, let's learn how to meditate. Like, let's actually learn from the Taoists or from the Buddhists who've actually really conquered meditation. They may not be so right on, like, some of the, multiple mortal probations doctrine. And you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe you don't have to wear the outfit and meditate for like 3 years on the top of a mountain. But like, we got some serious stuff to glean from these cats. Because I feel like if we fail at something in the culture of the church, it's teaching the practicalities of spirituality that seems so abundant in other faiths. Like, you look at the Taoists and they get the whole, don't try and control things.
Yeah.
Go with the flow. You look at the Buddhists and they've got down middle path. Like, dude, if it's taking you out to the left too far, out to the right too far, it's not for you. It's not of God. They've got that very, don't let your anger get a hold of you. The middle path. I mean, they literally call it the middle path, right? Yeah. And then here you're talking about essentially what many of the Gen Z kids call manifesting, that literally your thoughts can control the outcome of your life. Yeah, I can't think of a single class that I've had in church, and this is a North American Protestant problem too. You know what I'm saying? I can't think of a class that I've had where, like, one class, actually, I take that back. At BYU in my Religions of the World class, we learned how to meditate like the Zen Buddhists do in one period of school at BYU. You know what I'm saying?
That's so cool.
Yeah. It's that easy.
Well, no, one of the things, and I've talked about it on this show, and I have the text messages to prove it. I am in talks right now with Hani, who's a local rabbi, and he travels a lot in between Israel, so sometimes it's hard to get a hold of him and whatnot. But I want to do a 3-part series. I just got called to be in the Sunday school presidency, and my goal for 2024 was to be able to at least plan a 3-part series where we put our money where our mouth is. If Mormons believe in search, ponder, and pray, just like the song says, I want to get a rabbi in here because nobody searches the scriptures like the freaking Jews. And I want this rabbi to sit me down, and I want to learn his system, how he reads, dissects, and and studies the scriptures. And then for ponder, I want to freaking get the Zen Buddhist in there. And I want to learn from the Zen Buddhist your art of meditation and your art of just like, actually not meditation necessarily, but just like the way they try and focus on the space between what you're looking at. I know it's kind of an odd thing to think of, but that's what they try and focus on. And they try and actually make it so you're truly thoughtless, which may not be pondering, you know what I'm saying? But like calming your soul, right? And then prayer. Like, I really think like prayer is something we stink at. Maybe I need to get a Catholic guy in here to talk about the importance of the rosary. Maybe I need to,
I think you get a Muslim. My Muslim employees, man, they are so devout and consistent with their prayer.
Yeah, was it six times excellent. A day?
Yeah, all the time.
I think
they pray.
It's like Christianity, especially modern Christianity here in North America, is like they're trying to create this godless religion. It's like God's there, but we don't want to bother him.
Oh yeah,
it's
and he doesn't have a body, and he doesn't have parts or passions.
Yeah,
he does exist.
Yeah,
but like.
Well, they really. I mean, if the God that they think that they're worshiping is really not all that discernible from the God of Buddhism, or at least what the overall consciousness of Buddhism. Yeah. And I think there was this thing that happened where they've tried to bring Eastern philosophy in and mix it with Western philosophy, and it's been done poorly, I think is what the problem is that, they it's like they took the best of each idea and threw it out and brought all the crap in and said, okay, this is what and so this is where you get this new age nonsense that comes in that, it's like prayer without, it literally manifestation is prayer without God.
Okay. Yeah, fair. No, that's fair.
That's really what
But the sad thing is it works. Like there's an aspect of manifesting that works that I see referenced in the scriptures. Like the scriptures do talk about what is inherently what the young kids call.
Look, God is there wanting to bless us.
Yeah.
He wants to give us whatever we ask for. And he's bound. He's not going to come and just do it for you. He's bound by the rules. And the rules are that he can only do for us what we ask for him to do.
Now,
you're never asking, you're not getting anywhere with it.
Now, I don't want to embarrass Rodney here, but
please do. I love to be embarrassed and corrected.
It seems that Rodney has been plagiarizing from Brigham Young in the Discord in the general tab here.
Okay. You got something in the Discord?
This is one of my favorite Stoic quotes from Brigham Young. He actually had several really Stoic quotes, by the way.
Yes.
If you go check it out, some good stuff. So I hope your book. I hope you got room to.
Oh my gosh! Is this vaporwave Brigham Young?
Dude, what are you talking about?
Look at Brigham Young right
there. Dude,
there.
that's a daguerreotype, a colorized daguerreotype, 1876.
Oh
in St.
my
George.
gosh! Okay.
So he says, this is great. He said in one of his discourses, he says, "Recollect, brothers and sisters, every one of you, that when evil is suggested to you, when it arises in your hearts, it is through the temporal organization." He means it's coming at you from the, in your body, in your physical world. When you are tempted, buffeted, and step out of the way inadvertently, when you are overtaken in a fault or commit an overt act unthinkingly, when you are full of evil passion and wish to yield to it, then stop and let the Spirit, which God has put into your tabernacles, take the lead. If you do that, I'll promise you that you will overcome all evil. You'll obtain eternal lives. But many, very many, let the Spirit yield to the body and are overcome and destroyed. He says you're getting buffeted by all these crazy worries and all these stresses. Just chill out a little bit, and listen to some Rodney Norman, and
absolutely,
be stoic about it. Brigham was on this too.
Okay, so I got a question for you, Rodney. You're literally writing a book. As a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and a stand-up comedian. You're literally writing a book on how philosophy, specifically Stoicism, can help your life, right? And you're noticing all these parallels with the gospel. what's the most glaring parallel that you see between philosophy and the gospel, or Stoicism and the gospel, that you feel is overlooked by Mormon culture, or the church at large, that you would like to shine a light on so people learn from?
Ultimately, I think it comes down to what we are capable of achieving. We put, let's see, how's the best way to describe this? Well, it's like, the basic tenet of Stoicism is focus on what you have power over and ignore, well, not necessarily ignore, but just don't worry about the things you don't have control over.
Okay, the people I kidnapped in my basement. Rock on.
There you go.
Full control. You know what I'm saying? I'm just kidding.
Well, it's like you have, I like to put it in three places. I have that which I have no control over, that which I have influence over, and that which I have direct control over.
Okay.
And, the things I have no control over, what Russia is doing off the shore of Cuba. I have no control over that. What do I have influence over? I have influence on things of local matter, my local
Rock on.
Business, my local ward, my family, my friends. I have influence. I don't have control over any of that, but I have influence. I have influence over my children and their choices that they make. I can't make those choices, but I have influence.
Okay.
There's a realm that I can operate there. And then there's things I have direct control over, like what time I get up, what I eat, what I drink, what I think, what I read, what I study, what I do. And when you focus on the things that you have actual control over, you will find that you have more power. And when you're praying, when you're incorporating God, you're bringing the power of God. He's going to, that power will help you be better at those things, but also as you become stronger in your faith and because of your faith, you gain stronger influence on the things that you don't have control over.
Okay. No, I see that.
And that prayer is the key to it. I think, I really do think, and I'm guilty of this as well, is I think the biggest problem we have as LDS or any Christian is we don't pray honestly and earnestly.
Dude.
And even though scriptures say it over and over again, open up your heart. Come to me if you have questions. I mean, that was really the message of Joseph Smith was, you don't need all these preachers. You don't need them to get you to heaven, because at that point in time, that's what the churches were teaching, and they still do, is that, hey, you give me your money and listen to me on Sunday, I'm going to get you to heaven.
Yeah.
And that was the whole, you don't need any of those people.
What are some practical, I've said this so many times on the show that I feel like there is an untapped font of amazingness, to put it in millennial terminology. All right. That there is an untapped font of spirituality and depth, getting what you want out of life, better connections with yourself, with people, with God, lessons to be learned. There's so much power. That's what I'm looking for. There is so much untapped power in prayer that we are just not tapping into and not teaching people how to tap into. And I feel it's kind of almost like a lost art in North America. Okay. I don't know if it's our wealth has made us think that we don't need it or what, but like, what are some practical things that we can do to make our prayers better? That has been a consistent goal of mine for years, is I've recognized I suck at prayer. You know what I'm saying? Half the time I'm collapsing on my bed, I'm exhausted, and I just do some kind of crappy, like, dutiful prayer just to get through it so I could say I did. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to be that guy that, like NF says, we only pray to God when we want something from him. I don't want prayer to be a transactional thing.
Yeah.
But like, I haven't tapped into it in the way that I see others, where I'm like, that is a prayerful man. And prayer has calmed his soul and has given him a life. Obviously God's given him the life, but I can tell that he, developed that connection through God. Like, so what are some practical, I don't want to say tips. That's such a stupid Tony Robbins book cliche. You know what I'm saying? But like, what's some direction you would give the average bear listening to this podcast on prayer to make it actually like truly powerful?
Pray for specific things. Pray. You don't need to pray for miracles. You shouldn't be going out and seeking, hey God, I'll believe you if this happens.
Which sounds awesome. That's what some might say.
Well, not. I guess you shouldn't go out and try to tempt God, I guess is what it is. I mean, you should pray for answers. I'll give you an example. When I was in high school, and I apologize, but yes, I did seminary in Utah.
Okay.
We had I always took seminary right next to lunch, either before or right after lunch, so that if I needed to, I could have an extended lunch break. Anyway, this one particular time I had lunch. I had seminary right after lunch, and we're all getting into class, and there was this girl. Her name was Heather, and she had lost her retainer.
Oh,
during lunch.
Okay. And
she wasn't sure what had happened to it, where it was.
Okay.
But, it was right after lunch. And so she asked asked the teacher if she could go to the lunchroom to see if she could find her retainer. Right.
Yeah.
And she was very, very upset about losing her retainer. And so he gave her permission. So she and a friend took off and went back down to the school to go look for her retainer in the lunchroom. I was asked to give the opening prayer for seminary.
Okay, yeah.
And in that prayer, I specifically asked, please help Heather find her retainer.
Baller!
And it was funny because 10 minutes later, she came walking back in, and she had left it on her tray. And when she went to throw it away, instead of it going into the garbage, it flew up and landed somewhere, and one of the lunch ladies saw it, knew what it was, grabbed it, went and cleaned it off and put it away, knowing that the person that was looking for it would come looking for it.
Oh, good. Okay.
And so she went down there. She said, hey, I'm looking for my retainer. And she happened to speak to the exact person who knew where the retainer was.
All right. I love it.
And that to me was like that's what your prayer should be, is specifically saying here. And he says in the scriptures, hey, sort it out and then come to me with what you think. It's like, when he touched the stone.
Yeah, exactly. When the brother of Jared touched the stones.
You tell me what to do and I'll do it. Well, how often do you go to God and actually say, hey, here's my problem. Here's what I've worked out. If you could do this, this, or this, or show me a better way.
Yeah.
And you get specific with your prayers, and you'll find that your prayers will be funner and exciting, because it's, you want to get rid of the rote memorization prayers, the standard prayer, just, you have it falling into that trap. Once you get rid of that and start thinking of it as a conversation, you start making progress.
Okay, so last question here, bro. And then Jonah, feel free to ask whatever questions you got. But how has this helped you in your comedy, bro? Because that is a tougher life than a door-to-door salesman, man. Like you live day to day off the fat of the land, baby. Just traveling North America. You can only use a set once in every time, because by the time you get back, you have to have fresh stuff. And nowadays with the internet, man, people will look you up to see if you're funny, if they want to go see your show.
I have people finishing my jokes all the time.
Yeah.
Like you got to keep looking for new stuff.
Yeah. So if there ever was a need to have that stream of consciousness from God who gave you your talents through that microphone, and if there ever was like just lay out, like living off the fat of the land, like when Jesus Christ sent out the apostles and said, don't take two coats and just, live and stay amongst the people. Like you're one step away from a freaking missionary, bro. Because it's not the most lucrative thing until you get the big deal that pops.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Stand-up comedy.
I'm struggling. It's feast or famine is my life right now. So
yeah, dude, I hear you. So like, how has this helped you, with your comedy, man?
It's taught me to just do my best all the time, and I just let it happen wherever it's going to happen. I remember I was telling my wife, we were living in Texas at one point, and I said, look, we really need to move somewhere else. We need to either move to California, to LA, or to New York.
Okay.
You know, back in the day, this is how it worked. And I explained to her, I said, look, getting anything in this business is like getting struck by lightning. The odds of ever really hitting it really big are very small. I mean, there are thousands of comedians, and there's probably only about a dozen of them that are actually
household names.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you're very small opportunity chance. But I told her, I said, look, but to get struck by lightning, it's better if you're up on top of the house than in the basement.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, if you go where the lightning is striking, your chance of getting hit's better.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And so that's the thing with prayer is thinking I don't know where the lightning is going to strike, but by praying and being focused on just doing the right thing, trusting the process, trusting in myself, trusting in God, and just moving forward. You know, I feel good. I have fun because I know that the setbacks are part of the process. I don't get upset when things don't go right. I mean, you know, when my car crapped out on me, I was really mad. I was very upset because it's like I was just frustrated.
Did you swear? Be honest.
Oh yeah, I threw things. I got mad. My son was there to witness. You know, I had a moment. I thought, and I just had that moment. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna be mad because I am mad.
Okay,
and then as soon as it was done, I was just like, okay, now, and that's when I just sat and I go, okay, I need to find a solution to this, and I started praying in my heart. I don't know how to fix this. I don't know how to put this together. I don't know what to do because everything I've tried has failed.
Yeah.
And within seconds, I get a text. Hey, I got a guy who's going to pay for your flight, get you here to California in time. All of a sudden, all these things fell into place. We were able to get the car back to some place where we could store it. All of a sudden, we had the flights that we needed. Everything fell into place, and we got where we needed to be and do what we needed to do.
Dude, rock on.
So, and it's just depending on that spirit and expecting it to happen.
Yeah.
You just go, I don't know how this is going to pan out, but here we go. And this has happened to me over and over and over again. Just I've had these different experiences where I just know that, hey, even if it doesn't go the way I expected or want it to go, somehow it works out to be the best.
Dude.
And just having that faith and just moving on, you'll just find yourself a lot happier.
Dude,
wow.
That is freaking awesome, bro. So, like, how can people see your stuff, man? Like, I want everybody in my audience. We got seriously like 25,000 more subs since you and I talked last.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's
Mike Bishop watches your podcast.
Shut up, really?
Dude, don't out your bishop, man.
Yeah,
what are you doing, man? Don't out him here.
That's funny. It's really funny because we have the weirdest demographics of viewership. It used to be a very skewed bell curve towards a younger audience.
Uh-huh.
It used to be like 70% of my audience was younger than me. A lot of that was probably influenced from Kwaku, who brings a much younger demographic and so on and so forth. Also, I'd like to think that, I'm just cool. You know what I'm saying? Of course, absolutely. It totally had to do with me. But anyway, I used to have a very young, simple bell curve, skewed much older than me, right? But now I got this scatty wampus bell curve, all right? Where it goes up and most people are still younger than me, about 50%. And then it goes down and I have this trough between 55 and 65-year-olds. Mm-hmm. Like a perfect bell curve all the way to 55 and 65, and then it asymptotes on 65 plus. Like, I literally have as many 65-year-olds listening to me right now as I do like people my age. You know what I'm saying? It's like the craziest thing. And for how much I rip on boomers, which needs to stop, you know what I'm saying? But for how much, like, like we joke around about boomers and stuff like that, I think they'd hate me. But anyway, I have so much, like, the only people in my ward that listen are like the old people.
Uh-huh.
Like, it's hilarious. it's like, and we've had people actually come to my ward building that are family members of fans of ours, where I get mentioned having been at some service project or something. They're like, wait, you know Cardinellis? And they like fly in to go to church with like their family members and stay after church, like meet me and Brittany and stuff like that, because they're fans of the show. And it's all the old people. Dude, the old people love me. And so it's hilarious. Brittany's starting to joke right now. She's like, yeah, if you ever cheat on me, it's going to be with like a 72-year-old fan. You know what I'm saying? Like if you have groupies, they're going to be like geriatric people. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so your bishop, what got him onto the show? Was it you, or was he just?
I just independent of me. He had started watching the show, and he was a fan of it. Now, I'll tell you why I think you're finding success is that you're talking about these topics. You're talking about church. You're talking about which is an exciting subject. It's one of the most exciting things you can talk about. Yeah. But it's always been presented very somberly, it's always, we got a couple ferns up in the background. Yeah. It's everybody's wearing shirts and ties. And, they're calling each other brother. And
sorry, Jared. Sorry, Halverson. We don't mean to out your bro. He's a bro of mine. We grew up with Halverson.
But you know what I'm talking about.
Like, sorry, Jared. He's calling you out, man. He's calling you out.
It was subtle for a minute, and then Cardi just sucked him in the gut.
Well, but they present it as always, prim and proper, and But here, you guys are talking about these subjects in a real way, having fun, making fun of people that need to be mocked and ridiculed. Which you normally wouldn't do at church,
Well, speaking
it's just fun that you're bringing these wonderful topics, and you're talking about them in real time. You're addressing all these things, and it's a fun and interesting way to do it. And I think older people are probably enjoying it more, because it's like now we get to talk about church the way we talk about it when we're just with our friends.
That's funny. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like when I was on my mission, we used to play this game called Shake Your Testimony.
Whoa, what's that?
And it was fun because our goal was to just always come up with, using scriptures, come up with the craziest ideas and theories.
I love this game already. I love that. Jonah is probably making a meme right now. Whenever I see him smile like that, looking down at his computer, I know that he's probably making the meme as we speak
right now.
Okay,
but we would just come up with the craziest, weirdest theories and try to support it with the scriptures. And me and a guy named Elder McGee, Mark McGee, he was my favorite one to compete with, and it was fun. It was just. So what's
the best one you came up with? I mean, you have this game called Shake Your Testimony. You try and justify the most crazy idea.
My favorite one was that Joseph Smith is the Holy Ghost.
Oh, that's one that's deep. There's people that believe that out there, bro. Do you know that?
Yeah, but it was crazy. So you'd take stuff like that. We even we played around with Adam God theory.
Oh, okay.
Just for the fun of it. So
dude, could you weave Lemuria in there? Or maybe like Tartaria? Or like
I didn't know about Tartaria at the time, but yeah, I would have thrown that in there. And that's the other thing, is that we have so much more information available to us, so much more to talk about. And like all the stuff they would say, there's no documentation or proof of the Book of Mormon. And now all the stuff they said, there were no horses, and it's like, no, there's tons of
betas.
All this stuff, I remember in the early 2000s, the whole thing was that there's no, DNA proof that there had any Jewish influence or Israelite influence, and now we find out that almost all of the tribes of the Northeast were descendants of the tribes of Judah.
Tribes of the Northeast of
the United States.
Oh, no, that you're talking about how the current American Indian tribes are not actually the current. I think what you're referencing is the fact that
they're finding that there are DNA.
That there's Austro-Melanesian DNA in Central America, which can only be explained by Aboriginal DNA in Australia, and those are two cultures that they said could not have had transatlantic contact, but did. And then also that the new genetic research on the American Indians shows that they are not the first migration. Oftentimes are called like first peoples in Canada, that it's actually the second migration that actually replaced a first migration. And there's all these different haplogroups that are suggesting all kinds of other transatlantic, what used to be called conspiracy theories, but now are basically shown as possibilities via genetic research. If I were trying to be verbose in what you were saying, right? Awesome. So,
Now, sorry, before we get too far away from the Stoic thing here, I just wanted to say I'm a little bit of a Stoic myself. And in the Discord at the bottom here, I put a few very relevant memes. The first shows a painting of a woman there. Carter, I don't know if you could bring this up.
Yeah, I see it.
But this is a picture of me trying to stay sleepy when I go to the bathroom at 4 a.m. This is true Stoicism. You're just trying to push the external out, not acknowledge anything's happening, and just go pee and get back in bed so you stay tired. That is the ultimate test of character, and I don't know if Marcus Aurelius could handle that.
Okay. And here's another one. I see another one. What's this one? The
next one is King of the Hill meme. Stoicism is a stupid philosophy. Rips it off and says, if those people could care about externals, they'd be really upset. There's no point in trying to insult Stoics because they just don't care what you say. And then the most Stoic meme that we're all familiar with, or we should be if we're ever getting a little too excited about things, is this beautiful inspirational photograph
of Mount Everest.
Yes, says every dead body on Mount Everest was once a very determined individual. So maybe calm down.
Yes.
So maybe just chill out a little bit. But the ultimate test of Stoicism is that I have been a BYU sports fan.
Yes.
And you have to endure years and years of just losing, of your hopes going up and then being dashed just again and again and again. So a few memes in here. BYU football fans understand this.
Yeah.
Your offense sucks. Your defense sucks. Your offense sucks. The defense sucks. And it just keeps sucking. And then, of course, the first one of the season, we're always mistaking for, are we national champions? And soon, hopes will be dashed. So if you want to really practice Stoicism, it's going to the bathroom at 4 a.m. without waking yourself up and being a BYU sports fan.
Absolutely.
I think
that's
my contribution.
As I've always said, the purpose of BYU football is to spread joy throughout the world by letting them beat us.
Savage, man. That's brutal, but also very funny. And you're a stand-up comedian. So, dude, so before we go, man, where can people find you? Like, you're one of the funniest comedians to follow, bro. Like, you were crushing it on Instagram and TikTok for a while. And then I think that's where I first saw you.
Well, they try to, I started doing really well. And then they start shadow banning me because no social media organizations wants this to be the face of whatever it is. They don't. When you gotta hop on TikTok, they don't want you looking at this face.
Oh, boom shakalaka! So, are you still doing TikTok? Instagram?
Oh yeah, I'm on all of them because it comes in cycles.
Okay.
Every once in a while, I sneak through the algorithm and I start going viral again, and then they go, "Oh wait, never mind," and then they just shut me down completely.
Dude, you can't let the man keep you down.
Because I'll have a video that went it was like at 499,000 views and was just killing it. And then the next video, 200.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's like, something's weird's going on here.
So they're discriminating against you just like the Book of Mormon casting directors were discriminating against you.
Absolutely.
Jeez, man.
Right? Same deal. It's extra cruel because I don't know if you know this, Rodney Norman is actually 25 years old. He's actually 25 years old.
Yeah, this is ageism, bro.
Absolutely.
He's a BYU football fan, and this is how it ages you.
Yeah, dude, for real. So
that's where the white hair comes from.
Savage. So anyway, let us know what you guys think in the comments below. And if you got any questions for Rodney, he's going to be here for a little bit longer. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be doing a cool little California tour we'll have to get you back in the studio. We love having you come here whenever you have a minute, bro.
So, like I said, anyway, I'm hanging out here for the next week. So,
dude, rock on, dog. So, do you want to shout out your bishop before we go? Do you have any shout outs to anybody you want to give just right now?
Yeah, Bishop Reed.
Bishop Reed?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. First name or last name?
Hold on, let me make sure.
We know if he'll be bishop by the time. Look, you
you forgot your bishop's name.
I'm hardly in my ward. I've traveled. I get. Well, it's always fun because I go to like almost a new ward every week. You know.
Yeah. Somewhere. That's true. That's cool, man.
And because of Mark Reed.
Okay, there we go. Rock on.
Bishop Mark Reed.
Okay, sick.
He's a great dude. I love this guy.
Okay.
But anyway, it's in more times than not in the last few years when I go to my home ward, somebody in the ward asks if I'm new.
Yeah.
I've had to reintroduce myself in my own ward at least 3 times in the last 5 years.
Okay, that's really fun.
But I do have fun going to a different ward all the time.
Yeah.
Somewhere. Like I went to one in Oregon and a bunch of people there knew who I was. So then they were all, fangirling over me, which is pretty cool.
Oh yeah, right? Dude. Wait, why'd they all know you there? What had you just done a big show, or did there happen to be a very kind of Gen Z audience that watched your Dry Bar comedy specials?
I had done a show the night before at a big theater, where is it? I think it was Salem.
Okay.
And so I went to a ward that was close by there, and there were people who had been at the show, but there were also just people in that ward who knew who I was because they followed me on social media.
All right, rock on.
So they're excited.
Okay.
But then I've also other wards, they get excited when I come there because they look at me and think I'm an investigator. So I bring joy to every ward I walk into.
Just everyone's happy to see you.
Yes, for whatever reason.
Okay, dude. So I was gonna wrap it up here a second ago, but now I just got to plain old ask you point blank. What's the coolest ward you've ever visited that wasn't yours? Like, what was the coolest ward where you're just like, oh, dude, those people, they got it going on over there, and that was a ton of fun, or just really spiritual? Like, what was the coolest ward you ever visited, bro?
Oh, let's see. Hawaii.
Okay.
I would say almost every ward I went to in Hawaii, because everybody knew everybody. I mean, it was like the family ward magnified 100 times.
Okay.
And I remember walking in there, and I just immediately people came up and started talking to me because obviously I was not from there, and they're like, "Are you visiting or have you moved here?" And I said, "I'm just visiting." And they say, "Well, we're so glad you came to join us today."
Oh, that's so touching.
And I had 3 different people in one ward that I went to in there on the Big Island over in Kona that invited me to dinner.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. They were like, "Do you have a place to or what? How long are you here? Why don't you come over for dinner this afternoon?" And this is before I was ever even close to being known by anybody.
Wow, you almost said famous. Just own it. Just own it. Say before I was famous.
Before I was famous. I was just some schlub off the street. I was there doing other business. I wasn't doing comedy or anything. I was just
okay.
But yeah, I had 3 different people came up and asked if I had some place to go eat.
So now, was it just because of a uniquely cool and humble ward? Do you feel it was the culture of Hawaii? Do you feel it was the culture of the individual ward? Good leadership? What do you think that was? Did you figure it out?
I think it was. I think it was a lot of his culture. I think being on the island, they probably grew up with each other and had a strong connection with each other for a long time.
Okay.
But the fact that they didn't let me feel like an outsider.
Okay.
That was the difference, was that they just opened up and said, "We don't know who you are, but we want to."
Okay.
That's cool.
And every ward that I go to that does that, if you get approached by somebody within minutes of being in that building, you know that this is a group of people that are really, really focused on the gospel.
Yeah.
And I don't want to judge people in that regards, but I've noticed that the sooner somebody comes up and introduces themselves to me, the stronger the spirit is in that building.
Okay. Now, 2 more questions. What's the worst ward you've been to? No, I'm just kidding.
This is easy.
Shut up! Really? I don't know if I should let you answer this question.
I won't be too specific, but what it was an actual ward, but it wasn't very big.
Okay.
And when I got there, I mean, apparently it was like I said, I won't get into specifics, but the ward was made up primarily of 2 families.
Huh.
Okay. And
was it like the Montagues and the Capulets? They were just at each other's throats, or what?
Well, no, it was.
Were they inbred, bro? And this was like in the Appalachian Mountains?
Look, I'm not going to go what their marital relations were.
Names, Rodney. We want names.
But when you go in and it's like, the meeting, you open up the thing for what the services are.
Yeah.
And there's only 2 last names of all the different positions.
It's interesting. Like
Bishop Jones and first counselors of Dwight and Dwight and Dwight. And then the seminary president was Sister Dwight, and her counselors were Sister Jones and Jones. You know what I mean? It was like that. And they had absolutely no interest in me at all.
Really?
I mean, no one spoke to me. No one asked who I was. They didn't ask what I was there for. They just sort of stared at me like, who is this weirdo? And I spoke to absolutely not a single person in that ward. And this was during 3 hours. I went to all 3 hours.
Had you gone to that 24-hour fitness tanning booth and looked extra homeless maybe when you walked in?
Oh no, this was back when I was clean shaven and
Really?
I looked all the part.
Dude, wow, that's crazy. Okay.
It was eerily just the oddest ward I'd ever been to.
Weird.
And like I said, I won't mention who they are or where they're at.
Oh, don't sweat it. Don't sweat it. That was actually a joke question, and you straight up answered.
Oh yeah, trust me. It was like I think I just walked into the Hills Have Eyes ward.
Oh jeez.
That's what it felt like. I was like this.
Hey, we have wards everywhere. We have wards everywhere. We've got one.
Okay. And last question here, bro. In all of your travels, which are predominantly in the United States and Canada, I assume, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a place where culturally you just feel like it's they're most in tune with what Jesus Christ intended when he gave us the gospel? You know what I'm saying? Is there an area, not an individual ward, but just like you're like, oh, the people in that city over there, they do it really, really well, or like that's kind of like you feel like. Good wards come from that kind. Like, for example, I loved Reno. When I was in Reno, the Reno wards, they were all great. There wasn't a bad one. I spent months and months and months there, and I got to know several of the wards, both the family wards and the singles ward, and they were just all great. And I actually kind of got to studying it and thinking, okay, is there a type of demographic that breeds more happiness? Because for example, the Congressional Business Office and the Bureau of Labor Statistics and so on and so forth has said people self-report the most amount of happiness that make between $65,000 and $75,000. And they've surmised that, this is high enough above the economic stress threshold where you're not stressing day-to-day incomes and medical expenses, but you're also poor enough where you can't
afford cocaine.
Yeah, you can't afford cocaine. But you're also getting joy out of your work and identity. So much of identity actually comes from work. So you kind of want to be poor enough that you have to work so you have a good sense of identity, but rich enough that you can afford certification and, maybe a college degree to be able to get a better job and so on and so forth. People have kind of surmised what causes happiness, right? Have you noticed that there's kind of I looked at Reno and I thought, it really really does seem that it's like this isolated little gift where it's just far enough away from civilization that it's like a small town, but it's also large enough that you can actually do all of the big town things. And it makes it so that people like, it really is the littlest big city or the biggest little city on earth or something, you know? And so it's like, okay, that actually breeds happier, more Christ-like members or something like that. Is there any place in your travels where you've kind of come across that and thought like, okay, cool. You know, they do it really well over there. Like this type of lifestyle breeds more happiness.
This is easy. The Polynesians, Tongan,
Really?
Samoan, Hawaiian. Probably just the most together of just really focused on Christ and on the gospel, and yet still, you know, down to earth. They're not caught up so much in the things a lot of us will get caught up in,
Celebrity culture,
you know,
and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just I've just always just felt so connected to Polynesian culture.
Dude.
You know, Hawaii or just anywhere else I've been. I really feel strongly when I'm with,
So cool.
with them.
So cool.
You know, I had this friend. His name is Lonnie Nico, and we hardly understand each other at all.
Okay.
But I've been on many adventures with him. Like one time I was in Hawaii and he happened to be there at the same time. And so we met up. We went to the Polynesian Cultural Center and it was sold out. You couldn't get tickets for anything.
Yeah. Rock on.
Yeah. And he goes, "Oh, you come with me. It's okay." And I'm like, "All right." So he goes and he talks to some security guard, and like, okay. And then the security guard leaves and comes back, and this other guy comes up and starts talking to him. They're hugging and chatting, you know, in Tongan. And next thing I know, we're being escorted into a VIP section and enjoying the show, getting treated like absolute kings. And,
yeah.
And
what did he say in Tongan? Was he like, "A Benedi's here, bro"? You know,
he could have. It might have been
Dude, legit. A minute.
But like everywhere we went, no matter where I go with this guy, whether it's in Texas or, like I said, I met his daughter when I was I was teaching a class, the investigators class in the ward in Jacksonville, North Carolina.
Okay.
And she was married to a Marine.
Okay.
And he was just joining the church. And so they were in my class, the investigators class, for him. She had grown up in the church. He was just learning. So he had just become a member and was learning. And we just became fast friends. And over the years, their kids and our kids have kind of been My boys are going to their family reunion.
Yeah, baby. Okay,
this
cool.
is how close we are with these people. So I've known Lonnie for many, many years, and he's got me into kava.
Oh yeah, kava.
What's that?
Oh, you haven't done kava?
Yeah, what's that, dude?
Oh yeah, I did kava, about an ounce of kava in college, and I was a blubbering fool, and I'd never touched it again.
Okay,
wait, what's kava? Is it like some booze?
Well, it's made from the root of the kava tree, and they grind it up, and it's into this powder, and then they mix it with water. It's literally like eating drinking hot mud.
Really?
It's like mud. And,
wow. Okay.
But it will just completely chill you out. Like
it chills you out.
Some people have called it liquid marijuana.
Oh, really?
But it's still it's still word of wisdom compliant.
Yeah, it's not as strong as Mary Jane.
Yeah, it's not THC. It's not, going to
dude, I am trying kava this week.
It will chill you out like nothing you've ever experienced. If you have a hard time going to sleep,
really,
you drink a little bit of kava, and it will just mellow you right down.
All right. Okay. Cool. Sick, dude. This is awesome. So, anything else you want to say before we jam, bro?
Just hey, everybody, love you.
Yeah,
Hope you're enjoying your lives, enjoying the gospel. There's in spite of all the craziness, we get front row seats to the apocalypse. So sit back and enjoy the show, man. This is great. This is a great time to be alive. I hope you guys feel that way.
What a comforting statement.
Okay, I will give a free Ward Radio shirt and hat to the first missionary companionship that has video evidence of them pitching the gospel in a public area as front row tickets to the apocalypse. Like we need to really embrace it. Forget this plan of happiness stuff. Forget this families are forever garbage that has only, incremental gains. I want to see the first Dan Jones missionary out there that's like, do you want front seats to the fiery inferno that's coming? You want to see the apocalypse from the VIP section? You need to join the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That would be the most epic pitch. The first missionary that gets me that video will be immortalized. Now, don't pray about it first. Use the Spirit. But if the Spirit tells you, and we know it will, you know what I said? You know what I'm saying? First person that gives that video, holy smoke. So anyway, guys, his name is Rodney Norman. He is a stud. You got to check him out. What's your website, bro? What's your number one social? Where can people follow you?
RodneyNorman.com. You can find, you just Google Rodney Norman. I'm the most famous Rodney Norman there is.
Okay.
Wow.
Rock on. That's hard to
I'm
believe.
on the top of the search, baby.
Yeah. Rock on. I worked hard to get there, man. So anyway, and Jonah Barnes, you got to check out Jonah Barnes, where all fine books are sold.
Yes.
Mainly, what's your first book again, bro? Turning Little Hearts. Turning Little Hearts, and the new one, Keystone, which is coming out. So anyway, Rodney, thanks for hanging out with us, bro.
Thanks for having me.
Guys, if you have time, you want to support the channel, make sure that you guys buy a shirt. Also, if you are of means, you'd like to contribute, make sure you check us out on Zelle. And as always, for this and more, please make sure you check us out at WardRadio.com. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. Before you go, please make sure that you like the video, share it with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please let this be the video in which we earn your subscription and that you press the alert button so you're alerted to all of our fun live streams and standalone videos and community posts. Also, if you'd like to help us out, please consider joining the channel. Members get all kinds of cool perks and benefits. They get early access to a lot of our videos and special emoticons and emojis during our live streams and preferential treatment there. It's a lot of fun. Speaking of a lot of fun, we have a super cool Discord. If you'd like to join our Discord, check us out on WardRadio.com. There's a link to the Discord there. Also, you can sign up there for our newsletter. Our newsletter is a lot of fun, and you can put your email address in there. And if you'd like to contribute to the program, please consider looking us up on Venmo or on the CashApp. We're on both of those platforms. Also, if you just want to keep watching more content, right about here and probably right about here are going to be some more videos. Please check those out. And as always, for this and more, please make sure that you look us up and check us out at WardRadio.com.